right, welcome back for another episode of Trade Secrets. This is the video series where I talk about those paperbacks, those graphic novels, those softcover collected editions, even some hardcover collected editions that you should be aware of because some of these things actually fetch a decent price. Like you may think that, oh, it's trade paperback, it's reprints, and nobody cares. Some of these are very collectible. Some of these out of print, tough to find. The only way that people can afford to get some of these stories, because even the floppies are either too tough to find or too expensive for most people to go and pick up. So the trade is a viable option, and even some of those, again, are worth more than you might think. So I want to point out some of those more expensive trades to you in this series. It's been a little while since I've done one of these. I'm moving this around and putting this on my open time slot now, which is Thursdays. It's a day that I haven't done a video in a while. It used to be the dollar bin digging day, but to be fair, I just ran out of steam doing dollar bin digging after almost a few years of doing that. I mean, almost did 300 articles on that. I just started running out of steam and wanted to do different things. So this is one of those different things that I kind of wanted to cover. Again, the original topic came from buddy Phil Newton over at CBSI, just carrying the torch from what he did over there, and just trying to do a newer version of this series once again. So with that all said, hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure that you like, you subscribe, you hit that alert button so you don't miss anything, and you keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. And if you want to see what trade paperbacks I got for you this week, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, let's see what we got for you. I know these first couple of episodes, I've covered a lot of the same series, and I plan to do that. Not that I plan to do. I have a few more, so you might have be familiar with these because you might have saw them last time out. But it's been a month or two since we've done one of these, so it shouldn't be too repetitive. But we are going to pick up the torch on some of these books, like that Transformers series. I know the last time out, I think we covered the first 5 issues of Transformers More Than Meets the Eye, so we're just going to finish off that run and do the second half of them here to start. So, with that said, Transformers, More Than Meets the Eye. IDW series, trade paperback, pretty cool Megatron cover here. Came out, it was $20. The MSRP was $20 when this came out. This covered issues 28 to 33 of that More Than Meets the Eye series, which I think ran through like issue 55 or something like that. It ran into the 50s. But with that said, this volume 6 trade paperback, it cost $20 when it came out. Now, does that mean it's worth $20 now? No. Now, if you go out there and see what people are paying for this, people are paying $65 to $80 for this trade paperback. There's a lot that went for over $200, but it had volume 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. So that had five books in it. So that's actually not bad price when you combine all the other ones, because again, we covered the first 5 in our last video. Now we're doing the second 5. Asking prices for this one as well. $65, $70, $85 for this volume 6. It's just one of those things worth knowing. You go yourself into a used bookstore, you go find yourself with a stack of trade paperbacks, whether it be at a Goodwill or, like I said, a bookstore, or these are the things that you can go and find in places other than a comic shop. You might be able to find this at your comic shop. They might be more in the know and might price it up, but like I said, bookstores and things like that, Walden's and some of those even online resources, you might be able to find some of these trades and get them for a better price than you can see here. These are highly collectible. There is a market out there, and that's why I find this pretty interesting. With that said, let's go to Volume 7. So Volume 7 was also a $20 buy-in if you wanted. I don't know why he's drinking a juice box there, but drinking a juice box. Collects issues 34 to 38. So again, continuing that More Than Meets the Eye run from IDW. And this one also does all right. Whew, $75 one sold by itself. And then volumes 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that's a decent chunk of the run. Sold for $530. $530. Anyway, asking prices for this volume 7. $130 to $170 thereabouts. It's an expensive trade paperback. So again, it's fun information to know. If you do know what you're looking at, you can make yourself decent money with trade paperbacks. That's all I'm saying, and that's why I find this an interesting topic, and I love looking into these things. Especially, I like Transformers. I mean, I'd love to just have these trades just to have because I do not have this entire run. I have some of the issues, but I don't have the whole run. Um, Moving on. So that's volume 7. Let's check out volume 8. Is 8 going to be better than 7? Because 7, those are some pretty tall asking prices. Another $20 buy-in for this one. Volume 8 collects issues 39 through 44. So we're getting near the end here. I mean, like I told you, we go to volume 10 for the trades. We're getting to the 50s for the comics. But with that said, issue 8, not available right now. But ones that did sell sold for $100, $125, and $140 within the last 3 months. Again, these are semi-recent sales because eBay's history only goes back 3 months. So, well, the quick history, I should say. You can go through Terapeak and get some older stuff. But point being, within the last 3 months, there were 3 sales, $100 to $140. None available right now. So another toughie, another tough one to come by. Who knows if they'll reprint these somewhere down the line, but IDW doesn't have the they don't have the license right now. It's with Skybound. So who knows when we'll see this stuff again. Moving on. Let's go to issue 9. Issue 9, or not volume 9. It's not issue 9, it's volume 9 because it's trade paperback. It's collected edition. Another $20 buy-in if you wanted to get this. That's the MSRP. It's on the back. You know, it's got a barcode and everything. It tells you what this thing was supposed to cost when it came out. This one collects 45 to 49. So it's not going to be that thick. You were talking about, what is that, like 5 issues? So it's going to be not too overly oversized of a trade paperback. Yeah, thin little guy. But still, no copies available, but a bunch sold for $100. Well, that should start with 70 up to 100, 130. And that was at auction too. So $70 up to 130 for volume 9. Telling you, these things are worth knowing about if you know what you're looking at. Last one out, volume 10, More Than Meets the Eye. Another awesome cover. You got Megatron there in the background. This would have cost another $20. This collects those final issues, 50 to 55. This one, well, let's look at the sales. Somebody got one for as cheap as $25. That's a deal when you consider the other one sold for 100, 120, and then a best offer on 150 for volumes 9 and 10. And then you see asking prices looking for $100 and $160. So whoever's got that $25 one, that looks like a bookseller listing. So that's the other thing. Even people who just resell books and novels and things like that, and then they get comics mixed in. They go close to the MSRP. They just look at it. All right, it's $20 on the back. We're going to sell it for $25 with free shipping. So they're basically selling it for cost, or what the original cost would have been. And you see why you can make money if you can find it for the original cost. So just saying. Fun little thing, fun little tidbit. And again, this isn't meant to be a long show. There's not a lot to talk about. I'm not going to go into the whole series of what this More Than Meets the Eye, the importance of that series or anything like that, which is more Transformers stories, more Transformers books. But now it's not with IDW anymore, out of print. Who knows if we'll ever get those stories printed again. So these types of things, they may maintain that value for a while. Or there may be a new printing coming out at some point, and then it diminishes the cost of those earlier prints, because despite the fact that sometimes first editions or earlier prints being more valuable, like in the regular comic world, other times things are valuable because they're the only collected edition. So once a newer version comes out, it sometimes neuters the cost and the value of that original one because now it's more readily available at a cheaper price. Makes sense, right? It's a different market. It's not apples to apples. It's not always like a comic where it's first print, so it's always going to be more value. It's not always the case. Trades are a little weird in that way. Sometimes they do. They hold regardless of new printings coming. I mean, there's a lot of printings of things like The Watchmen, etc. But that's the other thing. Things get printed over and over and over again. It becomes more watered down, and the value just starts to kind of tick down. That said, I got one G.I. Joe book for you this time out. I know we talked G.I. Joe on here before because these are the things I like. I like Transformers. I like G.I. Joe. And these trades, especially the IDW trades, are valuable. And that's why I like talking about them. This one is volume 14. So this G.I. Joe Real American Hero, volume 14, Cobra World Order, $18 at what it cost you when it came out. This was covering the Prelude issue 0 and issues 219 to 221. So just before Don Marino shows up in the comics, which is one I think we covered the last time out, or one of the previous times that I've done this series. But this book, Cobra World Order, even this one does all right. Look, copy sold for $30, and then another copy sold in a best offer $125. So could be quite the difference in the price. But when you look at the asking prices, it seems like the standard market price is closer to that $100 than it is the $29.99. So somebody looks like they got a deal there for $30 because asking 100 to 110 for this volume 14. Again, these are just out of print, tough to find things, because even going back and trying to collect these IDW books for that time in the run, it could be tough. Like, it could be tough. It's not that they're always so valuable. Like, all those issues are so expensive. Sometimes they're just hard to find. Like, you're just gonna have a hard time finding it just to fill out that run. Now, another series that I've talked about a few times while doing this, and I'm going to do it one more time because there's a few issues and a few volumes, I guess we should say, that I want to cover because, again, they're valuable. You should know. So I know it may seem a little repetitive seeing the same titles. We stop talking about G.I. Joe and Transformers. All right, I will. I will also eventually stop talking about John Constantine Hellblazer. But for now, I'd like talking about it because these things are worth knowing about. So, the John Constantine Hellblazer run is just a wealth of value if you can find these trades. Yes, it ran for 300 issues. And yes, those copies are out there, and sometimes they can be found for very cheap. The individual, regular floppy comics. But for the more, I don't want to say simpler, but the ease of reading through and reading some of these stories in the form of a trade paperback is wanted by many. So this thing was $25 when it first came out. This thing also covered issues 239 to 249, as well as the Lady Constantine special 1 through 4. So this is going to be a thick volume. There's a lot of material in here. Thus, $25 is a bargain, even if you could find all of those floppies. But you can't get this thing for $25 anymore because this thing, and this was volume 21, volume 21, it's more like 40 to $50, as you can see some of these prices. And the asking prices right now, well, they're asking 60. All three of them are basically asking $60. So doubling up ain't too bad if you could find it out there. And like I said, you get a wealth of stories there. Another one that does all right is the next volume, 22. So volume 22 would have cost you $30 when it came out. And this covered Hellblazer 250 to 260, as well as Chase the Knowledge 1 through 5, some special. So another mini in there. So again, you're getting a nice stack of stories in this book. And recent sales, $80. Couple sales for $80 on this $30 buy-in or $30 original price. Asking prices $80, $90, $100. So once again, it's just one of those things that if you know what you're looking at and you can find this, you can make yourself a few bucks. So that's volume 22. We got two more. I got two more Hellblazers for you. 23. Pretty cool. I think it's the Bisley cover. $30 buy-in on this one. This one would have covered issues 261 to 266, the Papa Midnight Mini 1 through 5, as well as the Pandemonium graphic novel. Again, a lot of material, one book, $30. But today, people are paying $75, best offer on $55, $60. So they're doubling up here. You go over to asking prices, and there's one for $60. There's another one for $140 out of the UK. And then there's another one that wants $350. Hey, I don't know what that $350 is all about, but even at $60, it's doubling up. That still makes it worth knowing. But that's a $350. And it also had eBay's giving it the great price. I don't know what that's all about. I guess it's a great price for the seller if they could get it. I don't know. But still, volume 23. Our last one for Hellblazer is going to be volume 24. This one's a little more expensive, $35. But this thing covers 267 to 275, as well as the City of Demons 5-issue mini. So once again, it's a lot of issues. A lot of issues for $35. And now that $35 is going for Yeah, 60, best offer on $100. Asking prices 90 to $100 basically. So those are more triple the price. Once again, it's just fun information to have, good stuff to know in case you find yourself in front of a stack of trade paperbacks and you find some Constantine, Hellblazer books, knowing some of them are worth some money. Again, not every trade paperback is worth extra bucks like this, which is why I'm picking out ones that I know and can see and show you are selling at a premium, because not all of them are. So you want to know the ones that are, so you don't go buying a trade and go, oh, this thing actually sells for only $2. That's also the case for a lot of trade paperbacks. Some of them are downright worthless because there's so many. Now, I know we've been with Vertigo on the DC side of things for a little bit of a stretch there, but we've moved away from Transformers, we've moved away from G.I. Joe, and I'm going to move away from Hellblazer. I know, done them a lot these first 4 shows because, again, there was a good chunk that I had. This is where I kind of started building my list of books, so I kind of leaned on the ones that I found and I was anticipating talking about first. Now we're going to get into some more as the series goes on, and some more oddball stuff and things that are maybe not generally in my wheelhouse so much, like Red Hood. Never been the biggest Red Hood fan, but Red Hood can do all right. So this is Red Hood and the Outlaws. This is volume 4, Goodnight Gotham. $20. This would have cost this trade paperback when it came out. Covers issues 19 through 25 of that Red Hood and the Outlaws series. What does this go for now? Well, copies could sell for $36 at auction. Buy it now sold for only like $22, but it was out of the UK, so it was another $20 shipping. So, but then you can see $80 was the more recent sale for this $20 trade paperback. And then you look at the asking price, there was only one listed out there, and it's looking for $100. Just saying. Red Hood even can go for a decent amount. And with that, I got another Red Hood for you. This is when the series of Red Hood and the Outlaws, and it continued on. I think it went for like close to 50 issues, but got rebranded. So Red Hood Outlaw came out, and I think this is also volume 4. So I don't know if it's just something to do with the number 4 in Red Hood, but I believe this was volume 4 of this run. This was only $17 when it came out. So $17 MSRP on the back. This covers Red Hood Outlaw 37 to 42. Does all right too. Recent sales, yeah, one sold for $9, but also one sold for $150. What? You said sometimes these things get listed and you can find that was $9.17 with free shipping. But meanwhile, one sold for $150. And asking prices, we look at what's available, $70, $120, $125. So I think that's more where the market normally is. So somebody snuck that out of there. Because again, it looks like it's probably one of those booksellers. The booksellers, they find it, they just go and they turn it because they think it's just like anything else. They don't know the proper, I shouldn't say proper, they don't know the value of some of these things. The collectability for us comic people, because we will pay premiums for things where others might not. So once again, that's why I like telling you about these things, because these are things you can find in places other than comic book stores. You could be out somewhere on vacation, you find a used bookstore or a Goodwill, and you wander in there and you're like, well, what do they got? It's probably all junk. Yeah, maybe, mostly, but you never know. You never know. And God forbid, if you got a half price books or a Books a Billion or something like that near you, maybe you could find something good. That's the point, because some of these things have a market and do have a premium attached to them. So with that said, that was my last trade for this time out. Hopefully, again, you found this helpful. Hopefully, you found this informative. Hopefully, I showed you a few things that you didn't know about before that now you're more aware of. So in case you go out there hunting or stumble into some trade paperbacks, you got a good sense of things that you want to keep an eye on, like those Transformers more than meets the eye. Basically, any of those things are worth grabbing. The G.I. Joes probably pretty much are too. And then some of those Hellblazers, and even the Red Hood and the Outlaw. Like, it's just odd things. And again, it's not always every trade. So do pay attention to the numbers I show, because those are ones that seem to have a history of selling well, whereas the issue right before, or the issue right after, or the volume right before or after could be nothing. Could be nothing. General rule of thumb, though, collected editions, If it's the only way that something has been collected before, it usually makes it valuable. Or if there's something that happens in that run, a first appearance, etc., it's just it's a crapshoot sometimes with how these things go. But hopefully you find some good stuff out there when you're out there hunting. With that, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I'm going to let you get to the rest of your evening, and yeah, I'll be back with some more content soon. So I'll see you all later. All right.